Oh, hello there. Yes, well, good grief. Looking forward to Springbank. Definitely. Gonna go away, gonna see some people, well, I don't know, might take in a movie. New Wes Anderson looks pretty good, but I would say that, wouldn't I? Types like me like Wes Anderson. Yeah. What's wrong with Fast and Furious 21? Anyway, leaving all that aside, of course, God, the news yesterday was astounding, wasn't it? Yes, the British wing of Hamas has been safely retired from the BBC. Thank God we won't have any more left-wingers. Football pundits, eh? Maybe not. Yes, and of course, dreaded trade deals. How dare we make trade deals with people that we trade with? Awful, awful stuff. It's a betrayal, isn't it? It's a betrayal. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about that today. I'm going to talk about something that's closer to my heart. I'm currently teaching an 18-year-old GCSE history, and there was a report about GCSE teaching history, and it was widely reported in certain areas and not very well reported, though, which I think is indicative of, well, just pretty much everything that I always say about the British media. It was this one, school children, yes, the best sort, taught black people built Stonehenge, drive to decolonise history curriculums has gone too far, warns report, which, yeah, inevitably made me sort of think about, political correctness gone mad and things going too far, which always leads me to want to ask people exactly whereabouts on the line is the perfect amount of political correctness. Yeah. When did it go too far? Was it 1985 or was it 1984? Ooh, it's hard to tell, really, isn't it? Anyway, leaving that aside, what this entailed inevitably was a report from Policy Exchange into history. Come back to that in just a moment. But it enabled all of those people that definitely know an awful lot about history to jump up and down. I did have to smile at our favourite deputy leader of council that's definitely going to really make a huge impact to people's lives and definitely slash those council tax bills, Darren Grimes. Sometimes people ask why I oppose DEI. No, they don't, Darren. They don't care. But anyway, the answer isn't racism. Well, no, obviously not. It's reality. Oh, thank God for that. Yes, that whole thing about real history, obviously. Today, Policy Exchange revealed that some schools are teaching kids that black people built Stonehenge. Oh, no. Come back to that as a concept. That's not diversity, that's delusion. DEI has become a license to rewrite history and push ideology over facts. Yes. Now, I can forgive Darren Grimes certain things because he didn't actually manage to finish his education, having decided that as a gay man he was going to rather look forward to doing, I don't know, hairdressing studies or something down in Brighton. He couldn't quite hack it. Oh dear, never mind, Darren. Anyway, and he's instead become, well, a pundit for the people, hasn't he? But the problem with that, of course, is that it's got nothing realistically to do with DEI. It's not a DEI thing. It's just simply one of those buzz phrases that's currently here. I mean, in 3 years' time, people won't use the phrase DEI very much the same way that they don't use things like, well, yes, critical studies or BLM anymore, because that was so 2 years ago, wasn't it? Anyway, we will come back to those centralised concepts, no doubt. The other one that really tickled me is Leo Kearse. Leo, you may recall, I don't know, he had been in an accident a few years ago because nasty communists had pointed out that there appeared to be a very, very nasty racist social media post attached to him. And, well, for some reason he just got lost on the way to the studio and wasn't seen for weeks. And yet he's back again, yes, which is very, very good, isn't it? Yeah, odd coincidence, that one. Yeah, I mean, like Darren, just not a racist. Obviously. British kids are taught that black people built Stonehenge. Weird that they built it in Britain instead of Africa, which I think is in many ways the sort of quintessential thing about somebody making very bold statements about which they know nothing. I imagine that Leo doesn't have even the most basic understanding about human migration in Neolithic times. Willing to bet that. And of course, nobody in Britain ever has been black. ever in the past, because British people have always been here and always been white. Always, always, always. You must teach reality, because that's reality. I mean, things like, huge layers of ice over time, notwithstanding, or indeed, agricultural and archaeological evidence. Mere trifles. But to get to the actual report itself, is by Policy Exchange, and drum roll, it's actually very fair and balanced for them, because it says that teaching British history in schools is actually overall very, very good. It doesn't like certain things you might imagine that they wouldn't like, and that's fine. It's debatable. It's one of those contested theories things, and they do talk about contested theories, but drum roll, not until page 95 of the report, yes, I have actually read the thing, do we get to mention of Stonehenge, and it's one particular resource that one particular school has used. Still, that doesn't stop the usual pundits from reading the article in the Telegraph or the Mail and deciding that that is reality, because that's journalists for you. Why bother finding things out when you can just accept that nefarious people like me are teaching history all wrong? Now, like I say, I teach, and we'll be later on today teaching history to an 18-year-old. I would argue that in many ways I should be teaching them contested notions, because once we move out of very, very simple facts, if you like, about Runnymede in 1215 or whatever it might be, we are ultimately always in contested territory. What was the significance of Magna Carta? Was it specifically to do with reining in the power of the king legally? Was it to do with ordinary people in terms of a written statement of things like people's access to the commons, or was it, in a Marxist sense, for example, merely a power struggle, one of many going down through history, whereby the absolutist rule of those people at the top of the pile is challenged by newcomers underneath them? You pays your money and you takes your choice, but all of those things are real. But of course that's too complicated, because it means we would have to live in a non-binary world, and how painful it is to have to think that things in the past might have been complicated, And of course it's just so much easier to blame me and say that I teach things wrong, or that I'm biased, or that I should be doing X, Y or Z. But I'm entirely capable of teaching kids that Stalin was an absolute monster who killed millions, in very much the same way that I will teach kids that Hitler was a monster that killed millions. That's the way it works, folks. Those are things that we can do. But at the same time, Stalin took his country into the space age, and Hitler was Man of the Year in 1938, cover of Time magazine. Woo, yes. All of those things are true, but they are all debatable. And an 18-year-old, or indeed a 16-year-old, or I would argue pretty much a 14-year-old, is quite capable of understanding that. It's just a shame that Darren and Leo and others aren't, really. If only they'd finished their education. Kids, eh? Phew.